Alrighty, hello. We are going to check out the talent trees for Dragonflight, the ones that have been released. We're going to start off with Druid, and I will 100% preface this right now with I am by no means a theory crafter or someone knowledgeable on the correct choices when it comes to these kind of things, like talent choices and new things that haven't actually been added to the game when it's really a theory crafting based thing. So this is me just kind of getting a first impression of the talent trees myself and just kind of checking them out. And I figured I would record it in case people were interested on my thoughts and stuff like that. But again, don't like copy me or think that what I'm, choosing or talking about is necessarily correct. I am far from a theory crafter, and I typically just base my decisions off of what more confident and able-minded players decide to take um, when new things come to the game. All right, so the way this works now is we get two separate talent trees. I guess I think of it, which is basically like a baseline druid tree that has other specialization stuff in it, and then we have our restoration specific talent tree, which has restoration specific stuff in it. So I think what we'll do is it seems like a smart decision to probably start with the restoration tree and then do the regular druid tree after. So let's go ahead and do that. So we'll just start off and we're just going to kind of check things out. So we start off with Life Bloom. We take that no matter what because we don't have another option. This just gives us our normal Life Bloom. And from what I can tell, the talent trees seem to be a lot of what already exists in the game. And we're basically spending points to get those abilities back in a sense. So next up, we are going to definitely take Efflorescence. Let's see. I don't see where's Spring Blossoms. I wonder if that is on here at all or how that goes about. Because if, like, for instance, if Spring Blossoms doesn't exist, okay, Spring Blossoms is down here, so we will probably want that. So we'll go ahead and take Efflorescence, and then Improved Life Bloom. Life Bloom counts as one or two additional stacks of Mastery. So we take 2 stacks of that because that's actually huge. That's so much extra tank healing if you have 2 additional stacks of Mastery. That means 1 Life Bloom is 3 stacks of your Mastery, so that's 3 hots on the target. So that's pretty awesome right off the bat. I really like that. Improved Wild Growth. Wild Growth heals in 1 additional target, which I think baseline Wild Growth does 5 targets. So this makes it 6. So for Mythic Plus, this feels bad, but I think this is going to be one of those things where maybe we skip out on this and we work our way down this way. So let's go ahead and check this out. So we got Nature's Swiftness. Definitely want that. And then improved Nature Swiftness is just reduced cooldown on it, which sure, that's useful. I'm assuming with 2 ranks of it, it's 20 seconds instead of 10 seconds. So we'll take 2 ranks. And then we have Omen of Clarity, which is our regrowth procs. So that's cool. Iron Bark, we need that. We also need improved Iron Bark. Again, another 20 seconds off the cooldown is really big. And then where do we go from here? Improved regrowth. Regrowth's initial heal has a 20% increased chance to crit. Yep, that's very good if the target is already affected by regrowth. So this is actually really good for M+ because regrowth is a spammable spell that we'll be pressing a lot to do additional single target healing, especially on the tank. So this is definitely something we'll take. And then Tranquility, we're gonna want Tranquility. It looks like it still scales off of group size, so that's good. That means it's good for Mythic Plus still. And I guess to kind of preface as we're going through this, I'm going to base this off of kind of Mythic Plus choices, and then maybe we can talk about like raid choices and stuff like that. Like improved Wild Growth, you're going to want 100% want this for Mythic Plus. But something like improved Iron Bark, you could probably get away with not taking that for raid. Like Iron Bark's nice for raid, but taking, you could save 2 points and essentially get more raid healing off of it. Same thing with like even something like Nature's Swiftness. You really don't need an instant cast regrowth in raid. So like you could probably forego this stuff. But we're not going to dive too much into like what would be the correct decisions. I'll just kind of go through my thoughts as we move along. So, um, we will talk about both options, like raid and M plus, but we're gonna mostly spec this out for M plus to start with because I just think that's a easier starting spot since we don't know what the raid's gonna be like yet. Okay, so we get Ysera's Gift. See, I think this one, for instance, is not very good. I think this is not very good for Mythic Plus, unless we have to work it for Stone Bark and this here, which is, what is these? Memory of the Mother Tree. Okay, we don't really need that. And then your heal over time, effects on the target complete their healing. So that's Flourish. So, um, uh, Stonebark, I don't know if it's necessary because usually when you Ironbark someone, you don't really need your heal over time effects to heal them more because they're already going to be like taking reduced damage. So usually that's enough on its own. So maybe for M plus we can skip this and kind of work our way down. It just sucks that we would skip out on basically like a legendary choice because I don't think you can work your way back up the tree. We'd have to go down this way if we want it. So let's just skip this side for now and just see what else we can get. So wild growth healing falls off 20% less over time. We definitely want that. Nourish, which is, we're not going to want this if it's anything like, it looks like they reduced the cast time unless that's incorrect, but 2-second cast time, that basically makes it replace regrowth. So that'll be interesting if this ends up being a worthwhile spell to take. Because before I don't think it was worth taking because it was either overhealing a lot or it had a really long cast time. It had like twice the cast time as regrowth, but I don't remember. Soul of the Forest, definitely want this for Mythic Plus. That's huge. Inner Peace, reduce the cooldown of Tranquility. And while channeling Tranquility, you take 20% reduced damage and are immune to knockbacks. That's probably pretty good even for Mythic Plus because you can essentially just have Tranquility save you from certain, unavoidable group-wide mechanics and stuff like that. But for now, we'll skip it just to see how many points we have. And then Cultivation's on here too, so we may have to take Ysera's Gift just because you get you get these two options here. Okay, so Deep Roots, Rejuvenation Healing is increased by up to 10%, and Tranquility Healing is increased by up to 20%, healing for more on low health targets. Um, that's a tough one. That feels we have like it feels like there's so many options where you just have to take it because the next talent in the row is like worth taking. Like right here, we're gonna want Spring Blossoms for Mythic Plus, so like it feels like we have to take Deep Roots. But for now, let's just do this, and then we will take Abundance as our default choice, or Cenarian Word actually. My bad. So Cenarian Word, and then oh, we need 20 points, so we need more points anyways in other stuff. So how many do we have so far? We have 18, so it's 2 more to spend. So I think if we do that, we just take Inner Peace, and then let's see what else we get. Um, Rampant Growth. Regrowth healing over time is increased by 50%, and it also applies to the target of your life bloom. That seems pretty decent, but the heal over time from regrowth really isn't that beneficial, but it does unlock Adaptive Swarm for us, which is going to be something that we definitely want for Mythic Plus, I think, if we're cat weaving. So again, another option where it feels like you kind of just have to take it, but let's just keep, oh, and there's also Convoke. Man, there's some tough choices in this tree. I actually like this a lot. There's so much customizability. It's just the feeling bad part about this right now is that it just seems like there's so many things where it's like you just want to take everything because they unlock very key features of the class anyways, so it's kind of difficult. Let's see. Oh, this is Flourish. Then what was down here? Invigorate. Your heal over time effects on the target complete their healing 100% faster. So is that just an ability you press on one person and then it just is like a flourish for... Yeah, it looks like that's what it is. It's like a single target flourish. That's very interesting. So we could probably skip that. We don't really need that. Memory of the Mother Tree is decent, but it's not amazing for M+. So we'd probably go Grove Tending for the extra hot, which is really good. And then we would take the improved innervate's kind of a waste, but it might give us something that we want down here. Don't really want this because we don't care about rejuvenation. Every 3 Crest of Swiftman grants you Incarnation. That's not going to be super good for M+. And then this is Flourish or Verdant Infusion, which is pretty good. So we'd probably take Improved Innervate, and then we would probably take Flourish or Verdant Infusion, depending on like what the dungeon is and stuff like that. Like if we feel like we need more single target burst healing or AoE group healing. So for now, we'll just default to Verdant Infusion, and then check how many points we have left. So we have 7 points left. So that means we would probably want, what is this? Modal, cool. Shifting out of Incarnation before it expires ends the effect and refunds a portion of. That doesn't seem very useful. I don't think we'll want Convoke. We would probably just want Adaptive Swarm. So we take Rampant Growth, Adaptive Swarm, and then we take Unbridled Swarm. And then here we would take Germination's always a big waste, but we can see, yeah, so Circle of Life and Death is like locked behind Germination. So that means like we're probably going to want to just take Germination so that we can have Circle of Life and Death because it's really important in M+ for dealing damage. So I think we go like this. And then what's this? Dark Titan's Lesson and Photosynthesis, which is decent, but I think we're fine with Verdant Infusion. So it looks like that's our tree there. Definitely some interesting choices that we skipped out on, but I really like this. I like the customizability of it, and I like how, at least for now, until we have more cookie cutter builds, it really does feel like you are having to make pretty hard choices. Like if you are playing like more casually and you can kind of expend, choices, and it doesn't, it's not going to, you're not at the like highest echelon of playing the game, and you can kind of just play around with different builds and do different things. Like you could find a way to make it to where you have Convoke and Adaptive Swarm, or you could, so you could have like Convoke and Adaptive Swarm and then play like Balance Affinity, basically, like balance talent tree stuff. So it's definitely really interesting in that regard, and I really like that aspect of it. And I think there's going to be a lot of customizability depending on specific raid fights. So like there might be a specific fight where you want to go down this tree and get like Vision of Unending Growth, and you're going to also want like Convoke, and then maybe like Photosynthesis. Like you can combine certain spells that are talents and choices and stuff that we've never been able to before. So it's really interesting. So let's go ahead and finish off the rest of the tree with what we want. So these are baseline abilities that we just get by default. So this is more like there's going to be a lot of utility stuff in here. So we'll start off with, we don't need Frenzied Regen. Definitely nice, but it's not required because we have so much survivability as a Resto Druid anyways. So we're going to just assume that Cat Weaving is going to be the best, especially because we get Adaptive Swarm and Circle of Life and Death again. So we will go ahead and default to taking some cat form abilities. So we have Rake, we have Thrash, we definitely want Rip. Maim is decent, but I think we could probably skip out on this one, but it is nice to have a single target stun. So if we feel like we need it, we could probably take it. But I'm going to try to path other ways and save that talent point and not take that, because Maim is one of those abilities where some dungeons I won't press it a single time, and then other dungeons I'll press it a lot. So we have Swipe. So we get Swipe and Thrash now as cat form. So that's even more beneficial because now Circle of Life and Death will affect both of these. So that's really strong, honestly. Cat Weaving is definitely going to be the play with Circle of Life and Death and Unbridled Swarm, and having two, an additional bleed on top of what we've already had before. Physical damage and armor increased, so we're definitely going to want that. Iron Fur, we don't care about that. And it looks like you have to cast it in bear form still anyways. And then let's see, we do need some more points in order to get further down the tree. We need one more point to spend, so I would just take Remove Corruption so that we have a Dispel, because otherwise that might be pretty rough. Magical damage and healing increase, that's definitely very interesting. That also unlocks Cyclone for us, which isn't necessary, so we'll wait to take this. Because it's 6% increase healing, but in M+, we may not need that extra healing. So let's just keep going down this way. Let's see. We don't really need movement speed. It's nice, but it's not necessary. We get an interrupt. No way. Resto Druid gets an interrupt. That's big. That's very, very interesting. I wonder how many healer specs get interrupts now, because that seems like it's going to be a pattern for more than just Resto Druid. Tiger's Dash or Wild Charge, definitely probably pretty decent to take, especially because it unlocks Soothe for us, but we can also just do this new Resto passive. Healing done and healing taken increased by 6% when we have 2 points in it, so we definitely take that. That gives us Soothe, so we don't really have to take this utility. Great, and then we're definitely going to want Sunfire, because it's very good. Improve Sunfire. Yep, we definitely want that. That makes it AoE. All right, and then what else are we going to want to get further down the tree? Looks like I'm going to have to come back up and spend more points anyways. So we'll take like, let's see. Moarsockz Endurance is really good. Oh, you can take Thick Hide too. That's insane. So we can just have a passive. We're definitely going to want that. So we just take Iron Fur, even though we're not going to use the ability, just so that we can have Thick Hide. And then we can also take Moarsockz Endurance, which gives us a nice Absorb. You can generate additional combo points. Man, this is insane. Oh, and Wild Growth is in this tree. That's very interesting. That's strange to think that you can take Unstoppable Growth and then not take Wild Growth. So you have an improved Wild Growth, but you don't even have the spell unlocked to begin with. We need to spend one more point in order to get to the next tree. So we probably just take improved Bark Skin, I would think, would probably be a good choice. Or we take like 1 point in Nurturing Instincts, like we can do something like that. We take, oh, you have to take both points to unlock it. That's a Stampeding Roar is probably not a bad choice either, so that we can go down here, because, yeah, we get Crit Strike while in cat form. Newell, Heart of the Wild. Okay, so yeah, we're going to want this. So we take Stampeding Roar to unlock that stuff. Oh my gosh, this is insane. We can take Mighty Bash or Incapped Roar, Crystal's Vortex or Mass Entangle. That'll be really good to switch into for certain weeks. Improved Rejuvenation. Increased rejuvenation duration by 3 seconds. That's not bad. It's not necessary for M+, but it would help us like not have to heal as much. It lets us cat form more, so this may be a talent that actually increases our DPS in a sense. So let's start with this. So we'll take these extra stats while we're in cat form. We get crit. While we're in our human form, we get haste, which is really nice to cast hots faster. And then if we switch to bear form, we get some versatility, so that will help us tank bigger hits and stuff like that. And we can take this if we need even more health to survive things. And then here, we wouldn't worry about the cooldown reduction on Stampeding Roar. I don't think that's worth it. So we would just take Renewal and then Heart of the Wild. And then we have 6 points left to spend. Well-Honed Instincts is in here. When you shift into form that you haven't been in for 15 seconds, ability costs no mana, energy, rage, or astral power for 4 seconds. That seems decent, but the problem is I think we're going to be switching in and out of cat form a lot more than every 15 seconds. Like, that seems difficult to wait on, so I don't think that's worth taking. So let's see what else we can get. You can unlock Innervate. Again, we have improved Innervate, and we're not even going to probably take this unless this is really good. So what is this? Nature's Vigil. All single target healing also damages a nearby enemy target for 20% of the healing done. Wow. Wow. That's crazy. Especially because of our mastery, the way our mastery works. So the more hots we have on the tank, for instance, so if we just put all of our hots on the tank, all of those hots are going to be doing damage to a nearby enemy target. So that we definitely take this. So we take like Crystal's Vortex, Innervate, and Nature's Vigil. And then we still have 3 points to spend, which I would probably, at this point, I really feel like I would just spend it on Feline Swiftness and then grab Primal Fury, which makes us generate additional combo points whenever we crit. That definitely seems worthwhile. Otherwise, we can spend 3 points right here. Magical damage and healing increased by 2%, which increases our Sunfire damage, our Moonfire damage, if that's baseline, which it does appear to be. And then also, I would think that Nature's Vigil will do magic damage as well. So I think we just take 3 points in Nurturing Instinct. Cool. So that's like our Mythic Plus talent tree right there. That's awesome. I almost talked about this for 20 minutes, so thank you if you've made it this far for listening to me ramble about the talent tree. This is awesome. I think this is going to be really, really cool. I think these talent trees have a lot of potential, and I am super excited to play around with various builds and see what people come up with, and the people who actually are theory crafting and stuff like that. I'm really excited to see what they do, but it definitely seems like this takes all the good things from the old talent trees that people enjoyed, which are not my preference. I don't like the old like vanilla talent trees and stuff like that, but it also adds in all the good things from our new talent tree systems that we got since Mist of Pandaria, like how we got, sorry for the Discord notifications at the bottom, I didn't even notice that. It adds all the good things from the new talent trees that we've had in the game for so long, where it feels like there's more player agency in the choices that we make and things to decide on, which that's what I feel like the new talent trees were good about and the old talent trees were bad about. Is the old talent trees never, I could be wrong, but it never felt like you had any like actual choices to make. It just was like passives and random stat increases and stuff that were kind of boring. So this is kind of like a best of both worlds thing. So yeah, this A+ for me. I'm super excited to play around with these and check out the other classes. So as they come out, I will look at them, talk about them, and then we'll release them. And then once once Dragonflight is in beta, or if we get into beta, or as as there's more development in the talent trees, we'll keep checking them out and talking about them. So thank you so much for watching. See you guys later.